Good morning and welcome to Live in a Greenhouse on YouTube. If you're new here, this channel is about my journey to design, build, and then live in the first greenhouse enclosed tiny home in the United States. Today is the July walkaround. This video was actually filmed at the end of July, but I've been sick for a while and conserving my energy for my day job and projects. But I took this week off work, so I've had enough time to finally edit and upload this video. During July, temperatures outside were mostly in the 70s and 80s, but peaked at around 92 one day. There are 3 air-to-ground heat exchange systems in the greenhouse. 2 run under the food garden at 2 feet below and 4 feet below the surface, and 1 set of tubes runs under the pool. The probe is inside the intake tube about 12 feet above the ground, or about 2 feet below the fixed portion of the roof where hot air collects. This air is much hotter than at ground level. Most days have been sunny, so the greenhouse high temperatures have been mostly in the 80s, with some peaks in the 90s or up to 100, but cooling overnight to the 50s and 60s. Since the house doors and windows are open to the greenhouse most of the days and nights, the temperature in the house generally runs warmer than the outside. By closing the curtains, the house stays cooler than the greenhouse. When the house gets too warm, I close the doors and windows in the afternoon and turn on the AC, which I did 2 or 3 times in July. It rained a measurable amount only one day in July and didn't even cover the ground a second day, for a total of just over 1/10 of an inch. With so many dry days and good extraction fans in the house, the indoor relative humidity averaged mostly in the 50s to mid-60s, which is generally below where mold can grow. Temperature and relative humidity have an inverse relationship. So convection moves the hot air out the ridge vents on warm days, but in July, the majority of hours were below 68 degrees and not moving the humid air out as well, and the relative humidity was above 73% for the majority of hours. To put this in perspective, that's a typical summer day for Boston and less humid than a typical summer day in Chicago or Atlanta. The big story this month, though, is due to continued lack of rain, the rain tanks went dry mid-month, and the pool is now down to about 10 inches. The effects are seen everywhere, outside and inside the greenhouse. So I was really surprised to see a large water leak in the crawl space where there aren't any supply or drain lines. It cleared up in only a couple days, so Matt and I think it was just a matter of the perimeter drain that takes a 90-degree turn at this corner got overwhelmed when I pressure washed a rug on the ramp just outside the east end of the greenhouse. So if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe so YouTube will show it to more viewers, and come along today for a walk around to see what drought is doing outside and inside the greenhouse. The sheet vinyl flooring for the office cabin is here. Although it's not likely to rain before it's time to lay it, I'm keeping it under cover for now. I'm working in and around the east pond, so spare parts are here out of the way. June was an explosion of flowers, but now it's just sad. Purple dianthus are blooming, and the black mondo grass. Deer trimmed the clematis and lilac, so now there's bird netting draped over both. The buddleia put on a lot of flowers for its first year, but they didn't last very long. I've been spreading the columbine and rose campion seed as it ripens. A few California poppies and godesia, but everything else is dried up. The day it rained and softened the ground, I got out here and pulled a lot of daisies. I've been watering this newly planted ceanothus, but otherwise there's not much green left in this area either. Although I laid a soaker hose for this area, it's fed from city water, and after I pressure washed the ramp last month, my bill was triple the usual amount, so I'm letting these fend for themselves. Of course, the deer continued to dine on the sunflowers, tomatoes, and lilies. It's habit to park the cart with the bed tilted so it doesn't fill with rain. Ha! I wish. Cardboard is still down in this area for sanding furniture pieces outside and then taking inside to paint. The nasturtiums continue to bloom while everything else is drying up. This area shows the effect of the tall trees to the south. The green area gets a few more hours of shade than the brown area. I made one dump run in July, but I'll probably need one, maybe two more. This is where the action has been. Cleared out all the stuff stored in the cabin on the left, removed drywall and insulation on two walls to frame in 4 new awning windows. Everything needs to move out of here and away from the walls to run power. Electricians put in this conduit to run power from the tool shed to the other cabin back when they ran power to the septic tank. Stuff is stacked everywhere until the cabin is done. This is what empty sounds like. And this is what the gauge looks like when the tanks are empty. This is the northwest side that gets full afternoon sun. Everything is dry and crunchy. Because this area gets shade from the trees to the south and the tool shed to the west, these flowers are holding out better than almost anywhere else in the yard. It's a sorry sight. Stuff stored in here until the office cabin is done. Hoses running from the pump in the pool to the soaker hoses in the raised beds, and plants that have been sacrificed to drought that need to be pulled. The peach tree has a serious spider mite infestation, but there are still a lot of peaches on the tree. I'll pick and freeze soon so I can spray the tree with neem. Even the tiny peaches have ripened into tasty snacks. Sunflowers and tigrella tomatoes get just enough water to stay alive. The peach tree and asparagus are the top priority for water, but it's dropping a lot of leaves from the spider mites. Fortunately, there was about 4,500 gallons in the pool when the rain tanks went dry. Even though I wasn't able to hook up the filter system again this year, the air pump moves the water enough that mosquitoes do not breed on it and the water doesn't smell. The pool is now the sole source of irrigation water for the greenhouse until the next measurable rainfall. These low beds in the southwest corner didn't get cat protection, and the only thing left that I want to harvest are potatoes. So I've let the nasturtiums die back and will soon chop both lavage. Two of the 3 lettuce varieties bolted, and the third is bitter. The artichoke are too far behind to bear fruit, or flowers, this year, and this was my first time ever tasting chard, which I didn't care for. So watering this bed is down to just the tomatoes. I did get a few cucumbers before the powdery mildew took over, so I'll spray them with neem and see if they recover enough to continue. These golden nugget cherry tomatoes are another of my favorites, and I graze a few handfuls every day. Bunching onions on the right are doing fine with little water, but the radishes on the left bolted and should be pulled. Both strawberry varieties are sending out lots of runners, and the olive tree is going crazy. I'll need to look up how and when to prune it to keep it controlled in this area. And of course, the calamondin has once again come back from nearly dead and looks great. A lot of stuff moved from the potting bench to the tool shed, but now waiting for the office cabin to be finished and power run to both cabins to move that last bunch of stuff out of this area. I did clear out under the bench so Matt could get under there to fix the water fountain. I see this area of the ornamental beds from where I sit for my day job, so it's a priority for water also. This area smells really good from the mint, sage, and basil. I've left these nasturtiums just to cover the ground, but they don't get much water. Thin the catnip and borage and put some cat protection in this bed. Let's see if anything fills in this open area. Nothing deters the cat in this area, so I'm going to give up and move this fern. Between the two beds of herbs and flowers, the seeding area also smells really good. Pillbugs beat the primroses, but nasturtiums and oregano beat the pillbugs. The bay laurel had a bad case of some sap-sucking pest, so I've been washing the top and bottom of each leaf once a week, and it seems to be working. The new furniture has made a huge difference in how much I use this area. These end tables were built by my grandfather and sat against a wall, so the backs weren't painted. Now painted dark green, including the backs. I've unpacked these brass lamps and sit here most evenings past dark. The next big project is to finish around the east pond, which includes hauling in river rock to level up to the top of the pond liner and then laying the capstones around the edge. So far I've brought in only a few capstones to decide if I like this size and color. And there you have it, a disappointing month in the garden, except for the peach harvest and this orchid, and also something I've never seen before, this night blooming cereus received as a housewarming gift. bloomed for the first time. The flower is huge, much bigger than my hand. Each flower blooms for only one night and then fades away. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And come back next time to see if we get any measurable rain.